every project I've worked on with Dan at the beginning, I'm like, this is terrifying. This is very ambitious,
Yeah.
but we love working on multiple creative projects at the same time. So, spend the morning working on American Caper, in the afternoon I'm working on A Better Paradise or one of the other projects. So it's very creatively stimulating.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
John, Lazlow here. You're like the talk show extraordinaire. Everybody can think of GTA, Red Dead Redemption, and now American Caper. And going through like from video games to comic books, was there like a difference in how that is? And were there any challenges?
Well, making video games is really hard. Making comic books is really, really hard as well. It's a completely different kind of storytelling. When Dan and I started Absurd Ventures, we wanted to work on some new open world games and do like adult comedy animation, and Dan and I are both fans of comic books. So, he came up with this idea of this sprawling crime caper set in Wyoming, right, which is a place that we've never set any of our stories in. And so we reached out to Shelley Bond, who I never had an idea of what a comic book editor does. I thought they just corrected my crappy grammar, but she got us David Lapham, who is an amazing Eisner Award-winning artist who's brought this comic to life, and as well as Chris Anderson, who does the finishes, like he does the inks and he just makes it like really dark and gritty, and Lee does the coloring and just gives it a really interesting sort of tone to the whole thing. But when Dan came up with these characters and he does the first pass on the script, and then I take it and edit it and get together with him, and I'm like, I think we should add some scenes with this character and add this dialogue, and then we collaborate with the editor and the artist, and they throw in their ideas. So it's very much, I had this idea with comics that someone would just write a script and hand it to the artist, and you're like this, but it's very much a back and forth collaborative effort. It's a lot of work, but it's fun because I grew up every Wednesday going to the comic book shop and blowing any money that I had from taking out the trash and mowing the lawn, and to actually be working on a comic with this gang, it's amazing.
And do you feel like your relationship with Dan, with working on projects like from Grand Theft Auto to this, has it been the same, or is there like a difference in how the collaboration is?
It's exactly the same. Dan comes up with the characters. He's responsible for all those iconic characters that you remember from GTA 3, 4, San Andreas, Red Dead, Bully, and so he comes up with the characters and the storyline, and then we collaborate and we send the scripts back and forth to each other, and I add stuff and send it to him and he adds stuff. But a lot of our process is I'll come up with an idea at 11 o'clock at night and text him, and he does the same thing, and I have to cut and paste all the text threads and email them to myself and put them in the scripts, because whenever an idea pops into his head, he'll just shoot me a quick email or a text or give me a call. So he and I have been creative partners now since 2001, and it was exciting to start Absurd Ventures with him and be making new stuff. So I hope people like the comic. There's the comedy, satire, and comedic violence that from the games, as well as heartfelt moments as well, and then murder.
Okay,
So,
So I'm thinking that it's in the title of the company, Absurd Adventures, right?
Absurd Ventures. That popped into Dan's head one day when we were trying to come up with a name of the company. It's been an amazing ride. It was just Dan and I and our dogs, sat in a room coming up with ideas for American Caper, for A Better Paradise, and for the Absurdiverse. And the company's grown now to, we've got an office in Santa Monica and a team in San Rafael, like 100 employees and growing. So it's exciting and terrifying, but every project I've worked on with Dan at the beginning, I'm like, this is terrifying. This is very ambitious, but we love working on multiple creative projects at the same time. So, spend the morning working on American Caper, in the afternoon I'm working on A Better Paradise or one of the other projects. So it's very creatively stimulating.
Oh yeah. I was wondering if you ever look back at the things, your previous projects, and you're like, well, how did we ever get away with this?
Yeah, it's. I think one of the things that I love is when Dan and I will write comedy and satire that then comes true, and because I don't know if you've noticed, but things have gotten a bit ludicrous in America, and we pull a lot of that into American Caper. You think you really push the boundaries of satire and comedy, and then it's like, how do you get more ridiculous and extreme than what's going on now in America and around the world? We've basically got this device in our pocket that's driving us all completely mental and insane and unhappy, and that's one of the themes of American Caper. Is it's not about politics. It's more about how people on the left and the right and the middle are all completely miserable and think that it's someone else's fault. And how basically online media, social media, the internet, and the news cycle have brought the downfall of Western civilization and democracy and turned it into entertainment.
Yeah. So when you think about it, it's kind of like The Simpsons and how they predict things. So you're in that field.
I remember we did for GTA 3, we did a spoof commercial called the Dormatron, which was about this device that would help you lose weight in your sleep. And cut to 2 years later, I saw an ad for like this drug that was like lose weight while you're sleeping, and I was like, stuff comes true.
Yeah. They probably saw that and then we got to make this happen.
Well, and with those long game development cycles, we would write lots of spoof radio commercials, TV commercials, and sometimes, since it takes so long to make those games, something would come out that was more ridiculous than what we had, or just so on the nose about something that we'd come up with, 2 years ago. The one that hasn't actually come to reality is we did a spoof television commercial for a TV program called America's Next Top Hooker. That one, but that could be on A&E next week. Who knows?
I guess my last question for you. You may or may not be able to answer it, but like, people, fans want to know if you're going to be in GTA 6.
Well, we left in 2020, so I doubt it. I loved working on those games with Dan, and I was on the radio in GTA 3 and all the GTAs after that. And it was an amazing journey working on GTA for 20 years. Dan worked on it for 22 years. But what's really exciting is the creative team and some others that were there for 2 decades have all come to Absurd Ventures, and it's got that creative vibe and grit that reminds me of those early years at Rockstar, where we're working on a lot of different projects and everybody's throwing in ideas, and we're working on stuff that makes us laugh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't wait for when this comes out in was it November 12th? Yes.
November 12th.
Check it out soon.
Order at your comic shops now, or online, or at absurdventures.com, or our socials, #.
There you go, yeah. All right, Lazlow, it's a pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks, man.
David, how's it going?
Pretty good, having fun.
Oh, yeah. So, American Caper. I feel like we're looking at the trailer off to it's craziness. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of gore, violence, and all that.
Everything. It's going to have everything, yeah. It's look at Americana, and there's a caper, and there's cops and killers and regular old people just trying to get through life, and doing all kind of over-the-top stuff, like a true caper.
And for this, like, what is the inspiration for the artwork for this? Or you're using more like a your signature style, or is there like any inspirations for something else?
Well, I draw inspirations from working with Lazlow and Shelley and the other collaborators, and also Chris, who's doing the finishes. He's bringing a lot of the style over the top of it, so it does look different than what I usually draw like, and that gives it this kind of the satire that is in there, which has been great, which is a little different for me. But the underpinnings and the storytelling, I think, are very much like Stray Bullets and other projects I've done.
And since this is written by Dan Houser and Lazlow, with it's just so many craziness. Like, for you working on this, is there anything that surprised you?
No, just I mean, what you'd expect. Just that, like, this is going to be a crazy ride, and actually, both myself and the editor Shelley Bond were actually always trying to encourage them to go even crazier. So maybe there's a bit of competition there between the video game world and the comic world, and who could be more over the top. But that's what we're going for.
I guess like the competition, right? Like, how do you see yourself? Like, how do we just top the video game world?
Yeah, no, it's like we're the comic book people. We have to represent, and hope I'm sure this will find other permutations, but we're the first, and we're like establishing this thing, so we take a lot of pride in that.
I guess for like those that's going to see your work, like, what are you most excited for them to see, or just being surprised by, without spoilers?
I just want people to be surprised and shocked that we continue to take like left turns in this thing, and wherever you think it's going, then all of a sudden, in an instant, it's going somewhere else. And I hope, like, without being like over the top, there's a lot of like prescience in it, and like reflecting the world as it is now, which is tough to compete with, the craziness of reality.
And what would be like your favorite thing to just work on, whether it's like the characters or the setting?
It's just like it always is with me, and like with right from the beginning, and doing Stray Bullets with my partner Marie and I doing creating Stray Bullets. It's always just the story, and like so that's my priority. And whether that's what Dan and Lazlow are writing, and they take in a lot of collaboration, so we talk a lot of stuff out, and just and then how to take those scenes that they've written down and craft them to be the most powerful.
And I want to ask you, like, just throughout your whole career, right? Like, what was like the one moment where you're like, wow, this is amazing, like, I'm working on this?
Well, that's hands down is doing Stray Bullets. That Marie and I, like, I was at Valiant and then Defiant, for anybody who goes back that far. And then that was over, and it was like, oh man, what do we do now? And then having Marie and I just deciding just to do our own thing, and we came out with this book, and we came to Comic-Con '95 maybe. We had our booth, and we were sitting there, and with our little book, and then the doors open, and onrush of people, and all of a sudden we had a line of like 50 people, and it was like, oh my God. And so I'll never forget that moment. That was like that was the coolest moment ever in my whole comics.
And fast forward to now, and
yeah, and then here we're still plugging away, still trying to make the best comics, and I know that's just like, for me, like, that's what I said, like, just taking that, whatever the story is, and trying to figure out what's the best sequence of panels to like to tell that story, and to like bring something of me to the writers, what their story.
well, yeah, we can't wait till the was it the first issue coming out later this year, And
Yeah, November it comes out. Right now, I just started working on issue 8.
Okay, all right.
So it's not going to be one of those things where it's not going to be monthly. Like I expect to be like we're pretty much should be wrapping up our first arc, our first 12 by the time it even comes out. So I think we're going to be pretty steady.
It's good for the reader, so they don't have to wait.
Yeah, no, I remember like growing up it was always frustrating, and like even great stuff. Like I remember when Dark Knight came out, I think it was like that 4th one. It was like you had to wait like forever for it. So, but yeah, no, we're revving up and ready to go, and it's gonna be real fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. So, David, it's a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes.
Like the biggest game in the world, and there's no signings.
Well, we were at Comic-Con in 2011 for Red Dead Undead Nightmare. That was New York, but this is another level, bro.
Yeah.
This is my first Comic-Con.
Okay, this is your first Comic-Con.
This is my first San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay,
I didn't know what to expect, and it's I was with the Dark Horse people doing shots till 1:30 in the morning.
There you go.